Okay, hello everybody, this is Make It Better, and today we're doing What If Deku Was a Mutant Part 10. Let's start off where I believe I left. So Zuko, after that instant happened, Nezu, of course, broke them up and asked for Zuko to leave. And Zuko looks over to his father and then looks over to All Might, giving him a slight angry look. And after that, he looks over to his father, bows a bit, and said, "Yes, sir." And he leaves as he's going off. And All Might is just looking at him, a little confused. And, well, they have their conversation, having a certain bet, of course. Next day, basically until Friday, on Monday, everybody comes in, and, well, it's getting a little awkward for some reason. Everybody comes into class as usual until Zuko finally comes in, being the last one, because, well, was given bad news about his entrance, well, his test. Since he already passed it, he was the first person to test it, and sadly his father told him he is not gonna go through the test that way. So he's, of course, bummed. Now, when he gets in there, he goes to his seat and sits down. He says hello to more people, which they're getting a little more shocked and surprised at this point. And now they're whispering about this. And Mina cannot say anything, as well as Suyu. But Momo gets up and goes over to Zuko and asks him what's going on. And Momo, of course, giving a slight blush because she had to do something that she doesn't want to do, since it's only for 1 week. Zuko explained that I might not pass this week, this year, this semester. And, well, Momo was kind of confused, but Aizawa finally comes in, tells everybody to sit down, and he starts class. After class and around lunch, everybody starts to go and leave. Zuko, of course, had to go over to Nezu to ask him more details about this situation, which Momo was, well, leaving. She was one of the first, but when she gets to the cafeteria, she doesn't see Zuko there at all, and she asks her friends about Zuko and where he might have gone, and some of them said that he was going to go over to Nezu for a question of something, of some sort, which Momo is curious and, well, she's really hungry today. Decided to ask about it later. After lunch, they go over and have their classes. Zuko comes in, skipping a whole class, which Aizawa really doesn't care. He knows how smart Zuko is. He just let him say his sorries and take his seat. Now, in the class, they were assigned cleaning duties, and today it's Momo and Zuko. Which, of course, everybody leaves and they had to deal with something like that. When the last person left, Zuko is just cleaning some areas, and then Momo brought up the topic about going, about him being missing during lunch. And Zuko said, "Well, oh, I see. I needed to ask a question about with the principal." Momo asked for more details about it, or if he's comfortable. And Zuko said, I don't want to talk about it. Which Momo said, "Oh, okay." And they go on with cleaning with complete dead silence for a few minutes. When Zuko finally picked up the trash and was going over to Momo and seeing her, well, being slower than usual, asks her if she's okay. And she kind of gets startled and, well, move away from him. But after she got her senses back in line, she was kind of nervous, and Zuko can see this and asks her if something has happened. Are you okay? As he reached out to her face with one of his hand, golly, I can't talk, and slightly brushed her cheek. And he kind of checks her temperature as well and asks if you have a fever or not. As he checks and said, "No, you don't have a fever." As Momo is slightly blushing at this point. She's only read this in mangas, and she never thought something like this ever happens. And she kind of get closer, and this time she tells him what she talked about in her family dinner. Zook said, okay, what? As he tilts his head to the right just a bit and asks her, so what did you guys talk about that was stuck on your mind? Momo kind of looks down, hold her breath, let go of the breath, looks up, sees Zuko with that tilted head of him, and explained that her father wants to see him after the exams or no, the semester tests are over. And Zuko said, what day? And Mom was trying to defend herself and her father that he doesn't have to, and it seems a little fast, but he really wants to see and meet you. And then she stopped and realized what he said. Zuko, with no emotions, asked her if alright just after the test or a few days after that. And Momo said she pulled out her phone and scheduled the day, which of course Zuko said yes. After that, they finished cleaning and was about to leave. But Zuko asked her if she wants to go and hang out for a bit. We still have, as he checked his phone, 2 hours until we actually need to go home. Curfew, of course. Which Momo gladly agrees. So they go over to a coffee shop, this time a different one, and actually get some food. At this coffee shop, and they just talked. And at this moment, they were talking about their quirks. And Zuko explained that he has 3 forms on his quirk, and really his training very difficult to go through. As Momo replies and agrees to this, but she now is talking about her own quirk, saying that she can make items out of her body, as long as I know how it was built and made, and also the chemicals. And Zuko, he replies with, "That's very interesting. I wonder, are you able to make gas?" Or, as Momo said, "Actually, I have not thought of that." As she gets deeper into thought, and Zuko add on to this theory if she could make a gas. It's all the same principles on making a solid material, so it should be easy. And after this, she tries and didn't make anything. She wasn't able to make some of a gas. So she's kind of bummed out by this, and she started to think about she actually said this out loud, trying to keep it to herself. That I'm not good enough. I should have never tried such a thing. If only I was smarter. If only if I could do more. I could be so useful. And Zuko kind of snapped at her once. And she kind of, well, looks back up and cover her mouth. And she thinks to herself if she said that out loud. And Zuko said that, yes, you did. As well as that. And Momo said, I'm sorry, it's it's like my quirk's not that great, and your quirk is like so cool and so useful. And Zuko said, stop, as she's like kind of nervous. And Zuko explained, my quirk, yes, it's very cool per se, but to me, it was accursed. To me, it looks weak because that's what I think. But what I think is not the truth. Not everybody is. How do I put this? Everybody put themselves to the very bottom, no matter what. But other people, the outside, other people, your family, your friends, and me, I can see that your quirk is very useful, very important, and I can see that you can become a very great hero with it. And yes, you are smart. You are one of the top in our class, aside with me. But yet, I see you go through school life and help out everybody that you can. You can ask me anything, and I will tell you the truth. That you, and she feels like tears are coming up in her eyes to actually feel validated, if that's the correct word. And Zuko finished that and said, but what do I know? Only have talked with you for 2 weeks ish, and the whole school, basically this semester, and I don't see what you're talking about. If Momo, well, kind of doesn't know what else to say by this point, and the food finally comes in. They, well, they do eat and try to talk, but Zuko, of course, goes off into another subject of sorts, which Momo very happily agreed to go with that one instead of this part. After they set ways at the restaurant, Zuko went one way and Momo went another. But Zuko kind of turns around and yells out, "Hey!" as she turns around and looks over at Zuko, and she can barely hear him. But Zuko says, your quirk is the best thing in the world. You should be more confident about it. And he turned around and walked away. And that leaves a huge mark in her head to think about until she went home. Moving on to the next day, same old, all the way till Friday. Here we go. They were taken to a bus, got off into a certain area. They looked around and they are seeing all the teachers. And Nezu coming out tells them all about the news, which now everybody is scared, especially Momo. And she thinks that she might get paired up with, well, one of the weaker of the classroom. But they are talking to everybody. And second to last pair is Momo Yadarozu and Shoto Todoroki against Shoto Aizawa. God damn it. And he do his same thing, same old of using his scarf and his power at the same time, and says this very line: "I am not gonna hold back," as he put on his goggles and went into the area. Now, the last two, Zuko already knew this, but Bakugo is kind of in a anger that he's paired with this stupid nerd. This dude that's not even that strong. He's gonna hold me back. And what teacher are we gonna fight against? And Nezu said, I'm glad you asked. All Might comes in with a huge crater on the floor right in front of the two. Zuko looks straight at him, and All Might looks straight at him and Bakugo and said, "You're fighting me. Don't hold back." As Nezu explained that all the teachers has these weighted bands. My God, I can't speak. Weighted bands on their wrists, and All Might here has 2 tons. Of course, it might not help with his punches, as he shrugs and walks away, kind of in a happy tune. And he also turns around and tells everybody it'll be 2 fights at the same time, one in one area, another in another area, and go. So everybody has their chance. Momo and Todoroki was one of the first, all the way till, and they're all the same. But in Momo's, she actually pipes up and, directs her, ideas out loud. It was very difficult for her, but she finally says it. After a whole week of Zuko telling her that her quirk is very interesting and useful, she just needs to be more creative, and she is. Now, being a lot more braver, finally come up with a plan to beat Aizawa with flash grenades. Here we go. Next match up. Everybody else finished, in-laws won, all of that, and was taken care of by Miss Recovery Girl. And they looks over, and Zuko this whole time is trying to convince Bakugo to fight with him. And Bakugo is going all against it, saying that he doesn't need any help. I can do everything by myself. You are just a weakling. Just go into the exit. I don't care. Or just go and cry in a corner. And Zuko said, dude, with that dang attitude to everybody, it's really gonna kill either you or your partner in real life, in the hero work. And then you also be as the buzzer goes off. And Zuko tried to speak over it, but Bakugo doesn't hear the rest. Bakugo's going straight towards the middle, and Zuko's just trying his best to keep his cool, but it's getting affected by Bakugo's anger. And Bakugo is still trying to say that he can beat All Might. And when the big blast came by, Bakugo was pushed back greatly, and Zuko grabbed onto him and grabbed onto the concrete and withstanding the blow. And when the whole wind finally stopped, Zuko looks over to Bakugo and said, that was All Might's one of his punches. And you think you can take that, even though you were about to fly away. And Bakugo, of course, is not saying anything. He's just saying, let me go, I can just beat him. And Zuko said, fine. You know what? I don't want to use this plan. But you don't see your flaws at all. I had to show it to you. And All Might finally comes into the scene.